What's up, y'all? Right now we're going to talk about the issued apology by the Ghanaian leaders concerning the transatlantic slave trade and the part that they played in it. The main speaker in the video, he gave some very heartfelt, sincere words of apology for the horrible atrocity that was committed against our people as we were taken on the transatlantic slave trade to the diaspora and to the Americas and everywhere. In which, if you do your research, you can see that it's very historically accurate that Ghana did play a very significant role in the transatlantic slave trade. The Cape Coast Castle was the main headquarters from which slaves were shipped from in Ghana. I believe Ghana's public acknowledgement of the atrocities and the role that they played in it back then is really a great stepping stone to begin healing between the nation of Ghana and the African Americans over here in the Americas and everywhere else. But right now I'm seeing a major problem with especially some of the Hebrew Israelites who have seen this video of this elder in Ghana apologizing for those atrocities. And this problem that I'm seeing is the fact that our people have so much pride and so much hatred in them to where they're telling Ghana that they could literally shove that apology. I even saw one person say that they want reparations because everywhere else in the world got reparations. And I'm just like, dude. My thing is, I understand that other nations got reparations, but I feel like that comment that I just posted on the screen is really stupid. Like, you're actually asking Ghana to give you reparations. I mean, how you gonna sit there and demand reparations from Ghana and not demand reparations from the oppressor that's been over here screwing us over since we got here? Listen, I understand the frustration that a lot of African Americans feel. I've seen plenty, not just the Hebrew Israelite community, but I've seen other communities talk about how we were sold out by our own people over there in Africa and a number of different things like that. But it's like, at the same time, it seems like the hatred over here in the Americas is very misguided sometimes. I feel like this video has to be done because there's a lot that our people, especially Hebrew Israelites, are unaware of when it comes to the whole subject of Judah being shipped in the transatlantic slave trade to the Americas and to the Virgin Islands and to Latin America. And one of the main things that we don't understand as a people is that Ghana didn't have a choice, man. What's intriguing to me is the fact that in the apology video that the Ghanaian speaker issued to the African Americans and to all of those that were shipped in the diaspora, was that many Ghanaian leaders actually fought back and tried to stop this from happening. They tried to prevent this atrocity. Some of them were brave against this European colonizer and intruder. At the end of the day, what y'all gotta understand is that Ghana, they had spears and knives and swords, bone weapons and things like that, alright? And the European had guns. Something that the Ghanaians nor the rest of Africa had ever seen before. These new weapons, you aim them at somebody, blow their brains out. For all the Africans knew, for all the Ghanaians knew, that could have been voodoo. They probably thought it was some type of new magical demonic weapon. And they weren't aware that it was ran by bullets. They didn't know that you had to have gunpowder or all that stuff. They probably thought it was just some new type of crazy weapon that the Europeans had that made it easy for them to capture them. You take that weapon, you blow somebody's brains out, and then tell the rest of them, get on the ship. Let me get on this ship right quick. Because they don't know they don't want to meet the same fate that their brother just met. On top of that, what y'all have to understand is that the slave trade wasn't founded by Africans selling other Africans into slavery. It actually started with European colonizers running into Africa and snatching people up. capturing them themselves, taking them onto the slave ships. The problem they ran into with that was there were some of them getting killed in those slave ambushes. And being the coward that they were at the time, they didn't like that. They wanted to get somebody else to do their dirty work for them, kind of like you see today. So, what is the best way to get somebody else to do your dirty work for you? Well, let's look at modern day Europe, for example. You look over there in the Middle East, right? And you have these leaders who want to do better for their own people, and they want to leave the European out of it, and they want to extract their own oil, extract their own gold, and do for their country, like Muammar Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein and all the Arab leaders who have been killed over there, right? What do? They blackmail them. They tell them, if you don't do X, Y, Z, we're going to come over there and invade your country. We're going to come over there, we're going to do this to you. We're going to capture you. We're going to torture you. We're going to inhumanely kill you. We're going to do all these different things. Not to mention, even in other countries, such as some of your African countries, there has been much talk of leaders being bribed and told, look, we'll protect your country, but you got to implement these rules. You got to let us get some of your minerals, your oils, your different resources. You gotta let us get access to that. Otherwise, we can't guarantee that you will survive. Put that context into slavery now, right quick. You have these intimidating Europeans, in which this is documented history, looking these African leaders in the face and telling them, listen, we'll get you some rum, we'll get you some alcoholic beverages and some little snacks. We'll get you some European exports and some food or whatever. But you gotta sell us some slaves. And if you don't take our generous offer, we're gonna come after you and your family. Kind of like a catch-22, backing you up against the corner. Like I said, some of the African leaders, they fought back. They was like, nah, I ain't finna sell out like that. But then there were other leaders who were like, man, I don't want my wife and kids to be killed by this devil that's standing in my house intimidating me like this. Man, okay, fine. I'll implement these policies. That scenario that I just gave y'all, that has always been the Europeans' track record of dealing with less powerful, less fortunate nations. Heck, they even put it in comic books, man. They put it in movies and TV shows. Matter of fact, I was checking out Marvel's Black Panther. Is like a animated version. I was very intrigued when they were talking about, when they were showing King T'Chaka and how some of the European powers that be were trying to get King T'Chaka to sell some of his vibranium to these leaders who were only interested in profiting off of it. And basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, until the Europeans until they evolve as much spiritually as they have physically and monetarily, they are not responsible enough to deal with the power that vibranium holds, right? And then later on in that same episode, King T'Chaka was murdered by the Europeans.
Third world countries aren't normally invited to real meetings like this. That's what the UN is for. A place for the powerless to whine about the white man. But they invited Wakanda to the big boys' table because everyone wanted a crack at their resources. Untouched petroleum deposits, medical cures unknown in the Western world, and vibranium, the rarest, most valuable mineral on Earth. Your Majesty, we'll pay whatever price you set for your goods.
They are not for sale until the spiritual advancement of the West catches up to their technological prowess. It would be irresponsible to share our scientific discoveries with you.
Are you calling everyone here irresponsible children?
No. More like sullen teenagers who feel more mature than their behavior warrants. The fact that every conversation here is framed in terms of profit and power says it all. You could have made half these breakthroughs yourself, but there's too much money to be made in misery. Why cure a disease when people pay for medicine? Why provide cheap energy?
Yeah, we get the point, T'Chaka. I've never met a socialist with a crown on his head before, but I guess there is a first time for everything.
Who gave you permission to use my first name?
I am sorry. I did not mean to offend.
I understand your frustration in dealing with a black man who can't be bought with a truck full of guns, a plane full of blondes, and a Swiss bank account. But please, hold on to what little class you have.
Your Majesty, I truly apologize.
This meeting is over.
Once it was clear there was no deal to be made, my job kicked in. This was not an easy gig. A month before the conference, they shut the hotel down for security purposes. Laid off any employee that had worked there less than a year.
Why do we have to leave immediately, Father? You said we could go skiing.
Now, this is why we have to leave. The children grow more insolent with each breath of European air.
I can't help but to say that the Europeans also direct and shift the blame towards the Africans. Like, you know, I mean, why are y'all looking at us? I mean, Africans were the ones that sold you guys to us. I mean, the Africans are just as much to blame as we are. So, you can stop looking at us now. Africans sold you guys into slavery. So, yeah. The narrative is true that, yes, Ghanaians and Africans did sell us into slavery. But they were blackmailed and forced to. That's the key part that a lot of y'all forget. And y'all direct so much anger, so much hatred towards the so-called Ghanaians. Especially the Hebrew Israelites. They're the main ones I'm addressing with this video. But y'all direct so much hatred towards them, like, nah, forget you Africans and you Hamites. Y'all sold us into slavery. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna get what's coming to you too. You gonna be judged with the heathen and all. And y'all got all this flack and stuff to say to the Ghanaians, and y'all ain't judging the whole thing righteously. And it is for that reason I felt the need to do this video. Truth be told, a lot of our people have they have this stupid sense of entitlement. And it's like, I understand that we were the people that were indeed done the most wrong on the face of the planet. Everyone else on Earth may have been mistreated and all those things, but we were the only ones that were dehumanized. I mean, it was ridiculous. And to a degree, we do deserve some type of apology and recognition for the atrocities that were done against us in the slave trade. But at the same time, our people, we need to get rid of this funky sense of entitlement. Demanding reparations from Ghana? I mean, I've seriously seen some comments that literally said something along those lines, talking about, yo, all other nations received reparations. I ain't happy because Ghana apologized to us. You know, I want something for this. I'm like, Negro. I saw the video of the elders over there giving their apology for the part that Ghana played in the transatlantic slave trade. And I felt like I had to bring some clarity to this subject, because there are a lot of illusions and a lot of falsehoods that are being pushed as so-called truth and narrative, and people are unaware of a lot of the things that actually took place during that time period. And it has them making misguided and misplaced anger and hatred towards people who were literally forced to do the things that they did. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm Elijah Yarreich. You can subscribe to me on my channel. You can unsubscribe. You can like this video, dislike it, share, and comment. With that being said, I will say shalom.